Morning, superstar. Thanks for the videos. Hope you had a good weekend. So, yeah, look, we're hyper-focused, and I can see you trying there. Okay, but we're very focused here on trying to get this late release and build it into the game. Okay, it's the perfect time to do it, and our last sort of big thing to take care of, right? Setup and backswing look okay. Look, it's still a bit sloppy at the top. Okay, so even with that shorter club, okay, we're still getting a little bit of that going. All right, but then you kind of figured out, and that's also where that heel strike then comes in. But you sort of figured it out, and then through the round started working the right shoulder the opposite way. Basically, what we're talking about is this back tilt, isn't it? So when we extend that right side, obviously here, we extend that right side and lean over. Okay, then we lose that back tilt. Okay, and then when the right shoulder drops, then we add back tilt. Okay, generally speaking, you want to add back tilt. Wedges, you would keep your original spine tilt throughout the swing. You wouldn't add or take away, lean on, never lean on it. Okay, but we'll figure that out. So you got to learn how to get, and that's why the stance needs to be so narrow with the wedges. So you need to learn how to get there, all right, without doing that. That's not what we're trying to do. All right, but we'll figure it out. And through that round, you kind of figured it out. But that's the one that is bad, and that's the one that led to the heel strikes. Okay, one was a bad one, and then a couple were just fades, but they were still actually heel strikes if you look carefully there. All right, so into the back, it's still a bit of an issue, but we're not too worried about that. Once you figured out transition looks good, path looks good, really trying to square the face, which is excellent, right? But still obviously releasing too early, and even in that, I think it was about a gap wedge or maybe a pitching wedge from the side, and still kind of releasing it there. All right, so we just got to work through it. Okay, so it's a little bit of timing, athleticism, but also that softness, again, we will bleed it in. All right. Okay, so we're going to start off with opposite direction drill again. Okay, I want you to video opposite direction drill for me, please. All right, because one of the easiest ways to hold that leg for longer is to drive the hips for longer. Okay, just sort of learn to trust that. Right. Now, obviously, as we know, and we saw a couple of those, maybe that right hand is snuck, but obviously we know we've always had issue closing the face. So when you do opposite direction drill, if the face is open and you're leaving them out right, don't worry about it. Okay, it's a very easy fix. Okay, anyway, so opposite direction drill, so start off slowly. Okay, chest or shoulders, hands and club and arms going this way. Okay, and then very early in the swing, hips going that way. Try and feel some softness and some flexion in that right wrist. Okay, and then you build it up. So then you go a bit longer back, and then, but while you're still going back, you're going towards your target with the hip. Okay, so opposite a little bit further. Okay, and so you build it up as you go. Right, and then second part of the warm-up. Okay, shut and hold. This drill works very well for us. Okay, so shut the face there, clear the hips and hold the release. Okay, look, I'm holding this right wrist. Okay, so then into some shut and hold. It's quite a narrow stance. Okay, keep the face shut going back. Open the hips and hold off that face. Okay, now I haven't released it at all. Never mind early release. Okay, which is not a good thing necessarily. Okay, then into our work. Okay, we're going to hit some punches. Okay, now if you punch a wedge, it's not going to go that low. I mean, obviously, unless you thin it, but it's not going to go that low. You punch a 9-iron, it'll start to go low, but not that low. You punch a 7-iron, now it'll start going low, etc., etc. So we just punch different clubs, right? So maybe just narrower than a normal stance. This is a 9-iron. Maybe just narrow, but that thing is going to be like just inside the back toe. Okay, and the hands are going to still be on the left thigh. Okay, so a lot of shaft lean. Okay, doesn't feel that bad to me. To you, I think it's going to feel like this. Okay, just got to do it. Yeah. Okay, and just hit punches with different clubs. So you can start with some 3/4 backswings if you want, but otherwise go into full backswing, full speed. Okay, and you're just trying to punch it. So you're trying to hit a little bit ahead of the ball, sort of trappy almost. Okay, with the hands well forward. Not a little bit forward, well forward. Okay, so off the back toe, handle goes in front. Okay, pretty much a full swing. Okay, and really hit it as low as you can. Okay, so That's low for a 9-iron at that speed. Okay, so that's why you would never punch out of trees with a 9-iron, because you're still going to hit the tree. All right. So, but the longer clubs will go lower and lower and lower and lower, so it's fine. Okay, and then your second drill is impact rehearsal. All right, so what are you trying to do from our setup? How's our setup differ to impact? All right, so weight and center point across, directly above the left hip. Okay, well, it's sort of 70 to 80% of the weight there. That's too much. Okay, we want that weight there. That's where the head and chest come in. All right, handle a touch further forward than what it was. And then hip open pretty much as you can without ripping those shoulders open. Okay, so start with about 60 degrees with the hip, somewhere there, and we just see how it goes. Right, so there's my normal setup. What does my impact look and feel like? Over, handle went with, open, open, open. Okay, that's enough with hip. I can feel the shoulder going. So that's what my impact must feel like. Okay, so that's my setup. That's my impact. That's my setup. That's my impact. Okay, and then you swing one, trying to feel that. Okay, sorry, the video just cut there as I've executed the rip, but you kind of got the idea anyway. So yeah, that's your work for the week. Thank you very much. We'll chat during the week, all right? And just stay patient with us. Just going to take a little bit of time to bleed in, but it's our last bit of hard work. Okay, talk to you later.